Small world, the world of informative flashcards. Flashcards and Crimes Against Public Order, Part 1. What is rebellion? Rebellion is an act of violent or open resistance to an established government or ruler. How can the crime of rebellion or insurrection be committed? Article 134. The crime of rebellion or insurrection is committed by rising publicly and taking arms against the government for the purpose of removing from the allegiance to said government or its laws, the territory of the Philippine Islands or any part thereof, of any body of land, naval or other armed forces, depriving the chief executive or the legislature, wholly or partially, of any of their powers or prerogatives. What is the penalty for rebellion? Any person guilty of rebellion shall suffer the penalty of reclusion perpetua, 20 years and 1 day to 40 years. What is coup d'état? Coup d'état is a swift attack or decisive exercise of force for the violent overthrow or alteration of an existing government by a small group. How can the crime of coup d'état be committed? Article 134a. The crime of coup d'état is committed by means of a swift attack accompanied by violence, intimidation, threat, strategy, or stealth, directed against a. duly constituted authorities of the Republic of the Philippines, or b. any military camp or c. installation, communications networks, public utilities or d. other facilities needed for the exercise and continued possession of power, singly or simultaneously carried out anywhere in the Philippines by any person or persons, belonging to the military or police or holding any public office or employment, with or without civilian support or participation, for the purpose of seizing or diminishing state power. Is the penalty for the leader of rebellion and the ordinary member in rebellion just the same? Article 135. Any person who promotes, maintains, or heads a rebellion or insurrection shall suffer the penalty of reclusion perpetua, 20 years and 1 day to 40 years. Any person merely participating or executing the commands of others in a rebellion or insurrection shall suffer the penalty of reclusion temporal, 12 years, and 1 day to 20 years. Is the penalty for the leader of coup d'état and the members just the same? Any person who leads or in any manner directs or commands others to undertake a coup d'état shall suffer the penalty of reclusion perpetua. Any person in the government service who participates, or executes directions or commands of others in undertaking a coup d'état shall suffer the penalty of reclusion temporal in its maximum period. Any person not in the government service who participates, or in any manner supports, finances, abets or aids in undertaking a coup d'état shall suffer the penalty of prison mayor in its maximum period. What if the leader of rebellion or coup d'état is unknown? How can we determine? When the rebellion, insurrection, or coup d'état shall be under the command of unknown leaders, any person who in fact a. directed the others, b. spoke for them, c. signed receipts and other documents issued in their name, or d. performed similar acts, on behalf of the rebels shall be deemed a leader of such rebellion, insurrection, or coup d'état. Is conspiracy or proposal by itself to commit rebellion or insurrection already a crime? If yes, what is the penalty? The conspiracy to commit rebellion or insurrection is already a crime, and the same shall be punished respectively by prison correctional, for conspiracy, in its maximum period, and a fine which shall not exceed 1,000,000 pesos, and proposal to commit rebellion or insurrection by prison correctional in its medium period, and a fine not exceeding 400,000 pesos. When can we say that conspiracy to commit rebellion or coup d'état exists? Conspiracy exists when two or more persons come to an agreement concerning the commission of a felony and decide to commit it. When can we say that proposal to commit rebellion exists? There is proposal when the person who has decided to commit a felony proposes its execution to some other person or persons. What are the acts punished in crime disloyalty of public officers or employees? The following are the acts punished. 1. Failing to resist rebellion by all the means in their power. 2. Continuing to discharge the duties of their offices under the control of rebels, or 3. Accepting appointment to office under rebels. Who may be the possible offender of this crime of disloyalty of public officers or employees? The possible offender must be a public officer or employee. Can this crime of disloyalty of public officers or employees be committed even if rebellion does not exist? No, this crime presupposes the existence of rebellion by other persons. There must be rebellion to be resisted, or, at least, the place is under the control of the rebels. What if the public officer actually conspires with the rebels? Can this crime of disloyalty of public officers or employees still be committed? If the public officer actually conspires with the rebels, then his crime is rebellion and not disloyalty of public officers or employees. What is the penalty for disloyalty of public officers or employees? Article 137. The penalty is prison correctional, 6 months and 1 day to 6 years. In its minimum period shall be imposed upon public officers or employees who a. have failed to resist a rebellion by all the means in their power, or b. shall continue to discharge the duties of their offices under the control of the rebels, or c. shall accept appointment to office under them. What is the crime of inciting a rebellion or insurrection? Article 138. This is a crime committed when a person who, without taking arms or being in open hostility against the government, shall incite others to the execution of any of the acts specified in Article 134 of the Revised Penal Code, by means of a. speeches, b. proclamations, c. writings, d. emblems, e. banners, or f. other representations tending to the same end. What is the penalty for inciting a rebellion or insurrection? The penalty is prison mayor, 6 years and 1 day to 12 years, in its minimum period shall be imposed upon. What is the crime of sedition? How can it be committed? Article 139. The crime of sedition is committed by persons who rise publicly and tumultuously in order to attain by force, intimidation, or by other means outside of legal methods, any of the following objects. 1. To prevent the promulgation or execution of any law or the holding of any popular election. 2. To prevent the national government, or any provincial or municipal government or any public officer thereof from freely exercising its or his functions, or prevent the execution of any administrative order. 3. To inflict any act of hate or revenge upon the person or property of any public officer or employee. 4. To commit, for any political or social end, any act of hate or revenge against private persons or any social class, and 5. To despoil, for any political or social end, any person, municipality or province, or the national government, or the government of the United States, of all its property or any part thereof. What is the penalty to the leader and participant of sedition? Article 140. The leader of a sedition shall suffer the penalty of prison mayor, 6 years and 1 day to 12 years, in its minimum period, and a fine not exceeding 10,000 pesos. Other persons participating therein shall suffer the penalty of prison correctional, 6 months and 1 day to 6 years, in its maximum period, and a fine not exceeding 5,000 pesos. What is the penalty for conspiracy to commit sedition? Article 141. Persons conspiring to commit the crime of sedition shall be punished by prison correctional in its medium period, and a fine not exceeding 2,000 pesos. There is conspiracy when 2 or more persons come to an agreement concerning the commission of a felony, and decide to commit it. What is the crime of inciting to sedition? Article 142. Inciting to sedition is a crime committed if a person who, without taking any direct part in the crime of sedition, should incite others to the accomplishment of any of the acts which constitute sedition, by means of a. Speeches, b. Proclamations, c. Writings, d. Emblems, e. Cartoons, f. Banners, or g. Other representations tending to the same end, or upon any person or persons who shall utter seditious words or speeches, write, publish, or circulate scurrilous libels against the government of the United States or the government of the Commonwealth of the Philippines, or any of the duly constituted authorities thereof, or which tend to disturb or obstruct any lawful officer in executing the functions of his office, or which tend to instigate others to cabal and meet together for unlawful purposes, or which suggest or incite rebellious conspiracies or riots, or which lead or tend to stir up the people against the lawful authorities, or to disturb the peace of the community, the safety and order of the government, or who shall knowingly conceal such evil practices. What is the penalty for the crime of inciting to sedition? The penalty is prison correctional, 6 months and 1 day to 6 years, in its maximum period, and a fine not exceeding 2,000 pesos. What are the so-called crimes against popular representation? 1. Act tending to prevent the meeting of the Assembly and similar bodies. Article 143. 2. Disturbance of proceedings. Article 144. 3. Violation of parliamentary immunity. Article 145.